We have questions coming in daily. People are bombarding Facebook. They want to know, is the water safe?
If you look on our website, you can get all
That's
the
not
information
adequate.
that's
People don't understand that. They want to know, is it safe to drink the water? When's the last time you tested?
Safe to drink. This is an ongoing enforcement matter, and really we owe it to these people to go give them due process, as we do for anybody. So,
but you're putting
thank you
due
so
process
Any
above
information
health
you
and
would like to have
safety?
is on the website.
All right.
I think we sent you some of the stuff.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
40 miles from the city of Pelham down I-65 South in another county, you'll find two Pelham City Fire vehicles, a truck and an SUV parked in Chilton County. They're behind the Clanton Fire Department, pretty much hidden from public view. It's a curious situation, so far from home, so many days a week. On random checks, we found the two vehicles arrived June 18th at 3:58 and 4:34 p.m. The 19th at 4:28, one worker swaps out the city truck for a personal vehicle. June 21st, the SUV is here around lunchtime, 12:58 p.m. The July 6th holiday weekend, both vehicles are here at 8:10 p.m. The 16th, the truck is parked at 4:03. The SUV arrives. A few days later, the truck is here in the afternoon and also on the 22nd. This unmanned Clanton Fire Department has no gates or security cameras. We rarely saw anyone else.
Hi, Chief Honeycutt. This is Cynthia Gould at ABC 3340.
We asked Pelham's fire chief what is going on here. He wouldn't agree to an interview on camera, but in our phone conversation said he alone gave the two workers approval, saying it was our way of helping the employees and saving them money. One lives in Montgomery, the other in Prattville. So driving back and forth 80 miles round trip, 4 days a week for 8 months, as the chief told us, the two vehicles have racked up 20,000 miles by our calculation. Fuel, wear and tear, the costs add up, and the vehicles aren't available for anyone else to use.
In the absence of a citywide policy, we trust our professionally paid department heads to make those decisions, as we should.
Mayor Waters seemed more interested in who had tipped us off rather than the cost to taxpayers.
Know your source.
We're told the two employees, one a fire prevention officer, the other a training officer, are on call, so that justifies the expense, even though they're not actually taking the vehicles to their homes.
If you're asking me, would I do that? Would I allow that? No. I'm sorry, but I couldn't. I had a limit on how far they could live.
Former Mayor Bobby Hayes and two others sit on the personnel board in Pelham. They acknowledge the practice may raise questions, but had no authority over it.
The bottom line is none of us are in a position to be able to answer your questions.
We asked City Hall if the two employees had ever actually been called in after hours. We did not get an answer. We checked with several other agencies across central Alabama who, unlike Pelham, all spoke openly and candidly about what's allowed. A sample: Tuscaloosa's written policy is the most thorough, layers of rules with a limit of living 25 miles from the city. Centerpoint's fire chief says he limits employees to 5 miles away, and Montevallo's vehicles can only be used in the city limits and on city business. UA law professor Susan Hamill spoke with us broadly on the personal use of public property in Alabama.
The culture of entitlement, like a virus, spreads. We just haven't had historically a culture that rewards ethics, that values ethics.
Hamill says there must be accountability. Perks like a vehicle shouldn't be viewed as a supplement to a worker's salary and only used for public business.
The cost of that is huge because your voters, your people, do not trust their government. They believe their government is ripping them off.
Under Alabama codes, public officials and employees cannot use their position for personal gain. We are still waiting for an explanation on just how Pelham gains from this setup.
Brett Jones has been an engineer and conductor for BNSF Railway for 18 years. During that time, he struck and killed one person at a railroad crossing, injured another in a separate incident, and he's had lots of close calls. They're not his fault. Jones remembers the day when the driver of a dump truck didn't see his train. That driver died.
You know, it's really upsetting because he wasn't that old. I think he wasn't even 50 yet when, you know, so it's just, you know, unfortunate to have somebody, you know, just because of a little lack of attention or, you know, whatever, just because there's no way that we could have stopped in time.
Jones took us for a ride on two 135-ton locomotives in Birmingham. The lights flashed and the gates came down at this railroad crossing, but a black SUV drove through anyway.
There goes two.
At another crossing, two cars, including a taxi, tried to beat the train. Look how close our train came to a third car. And check this out. The gates came down and a white pickup truck drove through anyway.
Your life is worth the wait.
Nancy Hudson is director of Operation Lifesaver in Alabama. That's a nonprofit rail safety education organization.
I think we're in too big of a hurry. We've got a lot on our mind. We're distracted by things either inside the vehicle or our cell phones.
This is the 49 curve here. This is where we get onto the Norfolk Southern tracks.
Brian Schaefer has been a special agent for BNSF Railway for 16 years. He's pulled over more than 1,000 people for running rail crossings. On this day, he stopped several drivers, including one woman who thought Facebook was more important than a train.
All through the contact, she never put Facebook away. That was her priority. Not the railroad crossing, not the police officer that pulled her over. Facebook was her priority.
This federal government public service announcement shows what happens when a fast-moving train collides with an SUV. It can take a mile to stop.
There's no stopping. It's not a car. You know, we can't just slam on the brakes and, you know, maybe miss it. You know, most of the time it's out of our hands after we do everything we can do.
Retiree Carolyn Keeney has lived in the preserve for 14 years and never had a bill remotely close to the one she got in September, $335.
How could that be?
For just one person with energy-efficient appliances and a low-water washer, it's more than triple her average bill.
You know, if we just knew the reason why was there a large increase.
And she's not alone. The land-based family had a $1,300 bill in September, more than $1,000 in October. They had lived on another street before buying this home.
But just from moving a mile down the road, I don't understand why my bill would jump from an average of $150 to over $1,000 from a mile away. Doesn't make any sense.
No issues were found in the home inspection, and the sprinkler system was checked, and no leaks were found.
I think we have the smallest lot in the entire neighborhood.
Both he and Keeney have had their meters reread and were told the bills are correct.
Maybe it's cheaper just to go out and buy bottled water and use that to cook with, make our tea.
Other neighbors also complaining. One had a bill of $2,200. Water and sewer rates are going up every year in Jefferson County, but nobody can explain what's behind these huge hikes.
I wonder if there's just gouging going on.
On the sewer side of their bill, something ratepayers said they had not seen before. A line for multiple charges, hundreds of dollars for what they don't know.
If prices were this high for everyone, I don't know how anyone would pay it.
ABC 3340 News sent copies of multiple bills to the Jefferson County Sewer Department and Waterworks for an answer. These folks say they cannot continue to pay these outrageous bills.